Hi, welcome to Shared Frequencies and the Space Between, where heart meets brain and life happens in the messy middle.
We're two best friends navigating a new chapter, sharing a space, finding a rhythm and tuning into life's transitions.
This is a space for deep and meaningful conversations about growth, connection, and everything in between. It's about learning to embrace the chaos while finding harmony, whether that's between the heart and mind or just two friends figuring it out together.
So, if you've ever found yourself navigating the space between emotions and logic, comfort and change, or who you were and who you're becoming, you're in the right place.
Let's tune in to today's frequency. Hi, and welcome to the 5th episode of our podcast, Shared Frequencies and the Space Between. We did add the disclaimer to episode 4.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be very accurate.
Yes.
So, welcome to Drafting the Frequency, Our Roommate Agreement, Part 2.
Part 2.
So,
the revenge of drafting our partnership agreement or whatever they do with
the
movies.
return.
Revenge was totally the wrong word.
Was totally the wrong word. The return of the roommate agreement.
Yes.
Yeah. As always, I'm Elle.
And I'm Don.
And thank you so much for tuning in. If you are tuning in, this is again still very new. And this is more so for just keeping our friendship on track as
Absolutely.
we are moving into this stage.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about the nitty-gritty about moving in together. We talked about the big feelings and the big adjustments and the small adjustments and the considerations and all of those things in the previous episode. And today we're going to be talking about all the boring stuff.
The practicalities.
But the practical stuff.
Yeah.
I don't quite know where to start. Maybe we should just
Start at the beginning.
Start at the beginning.
Start on the list.
Obviously, when moving in together and under these circumstances, there needs to be a financial element that needs to be discussed. And we've had those conversations. Yep. I'm not sure we 100% agree. I think we have on that. I think we've come to an acceptable settlement for both of us.
We have. Yes. We have indeed. Yes.
As in, I am not going to charge you very much. I think you would want to pay me more.
Yes.
And I don't think that's right.
But we have found
common ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Comfortable ground.
A comfortable ground. And on top of that, we have created a shared virtual account.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're obviously going to be sharing grocery expenses.
Yes.
So
we say obviously, but it's obvious to us because we already do that. We already we both enjoy the same foods. We enjoy a lot of the same snacks and stuff like that as well. So we have very similar eating timetables, as it were. So it doesn't make sense to be doing the whole, this is your cupboard, this is my cupboard, this is your food, this is my food, and then the added element of this is when you can get in to cook and blah 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 blah. Because that's not how we work.
No.
So to us, obviously, that was a fairly easy one.
Yeah.
To sort out. So yeah.
Yeah. So having that shared account where any sort of food budget goes out of, I think that's going to work really well for us. And then we've had the conversation. Obviously, I have the dog, so dog food and snacks and that. That for her will go out of my account.
Yeah.
And then there'll be anything that is very personal or individual or
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
any cravings or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You know, that will not necessarily be shared. We'll go out of our own.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's all sort of settled. And again, some of the quotation mark agreements that we make here might not actually turn out to be necessarily practical, or
No, they may evolve.
Yeah, exactly. As this evolves, and because who knows, you might be getting a job in Edinburgh, which means that traveling back and forth. So I might be doing all of the grocery shopping.
Yes.
So there might be things that.
But I think, and this is, and again, we've talked very briefly about a situation of equity, not necessarily equality. Is that the right way around?
Mm-hmm.
So
it is, yeah.
You know, so when it comes to, and we'll talk about these things. You know, so when it comes to things like cleaning, there may be stuff that you're better at within that, and you enjoy within that maybe I don't so much. But there's other things that I'm better at and whatnot. So it's not a case of you clean this week, I clean that week. You know, and you know, it won't necessarily pan out like that. There will be a structure in place to begin with, but then we will see how it pans out.
Let's talk about that. About that, because that is super triggering for me, actually.
Yeah.
The way that you put it, the way that you say it, it's super triggering for me.
And I know why. I think I know why.
I mean, okay, take a stab at it.
Just from previous situations.
No.
No? Okay then.
No.
I'm totally wrong.
It's well, no, actually, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
No. This is triggering for me because of the way that I am.
Okay.
Right? So I'm very independent.
Yes.
I do everything on my own.
Yes.
And I've always done that.
Yes.
And I really enjoy cleaning.
Yeah.
I enjoy keeping house.
Yeah.
I really enjoy keeping house, and I enjoy learning about my house and learning about the different things.
Okay, so let's thrash this one out first then. Let's
exactly.
get into it, yeah.
Exactly. So like, I don't have anything that I don't like doing.
Okay.
Because I take pride in doing it.
Yeah.
Because this is my house.
Maybe like was the wrong way for me to phrase it then.
Well, I mean, so that whole thing about, I don't cut the grass. I don't take the trash out.
No.
I don't do these
What
things.
I'm talking about.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that. But I'm like, actually, no. I enjoy doing my garden.
Yeah.
I do I always remember to take the bins out on, you know? No, not always, but that's because I then had a really stressful Monday, and they've just changed the bin schedule, and it was previously on a Wednesday, and Tuesdays just work better for me in my brain, and now I'm a day behind because they've changed the days, all those things. Like the same with dishes. I actually really enjoy doing the dishes. I really enjoy cooking. I really enjoy cleaning.
Well, that's fine. I'm happy for you to do it all. End of conversation.
I enjoy learning about my car and like being able to, you know, like when we were changing the light bulb the other day. Well, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, where I was like, no, teach me how to do it. Don't do it for me.
Teach
me how to do it.
That's what I did. You were just like, show me. So, and I've got...
Well, I didn't actually give you a chance. I grabbed the bulb out of your hand and was like, okay, so what do I do now?
Yeah.
You've read up on it.
Yeah.
What do you do now?
Yeah. And I'm comfortable with that as well. And it's like, you know, and I suppose it's kind of archaic gender role kind of job things that kind of plays into it. And I'm not that.
No.
You know, I'm not that. You know, so that scenario you're talking about there with the bulb, I'm like, absolutely, yeah, I'm delighted. And I get a little bit of happy and a little bit of dopamine and joy. Satisfaction from you learning something new and me having taught you something new, like putting a light bulb in, you know, or learning something new alongside you, like reinstalling an entire bathroom.
Well, exactly.
You know,
and the meltdown that I have also had recently about my kitchen.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm going to gently but forcefully make you help me redo my kitchen.
Yeah. And, you know, because... And I think, again, this is like we've talked about in previous episodes, things where we work well together, you know, because, you know, have I watched hours of YouTube videos on how to install kitchens and da-da-da-da-da? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely on that. And, you know, I really enjoy that. And then the hands-on stuff we both get stuck into.
Yeah.
You know, and then I get a chance to share with you what I've learned, and you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
I actually had a conversation with my neighbour about that today.
Yeah.
Well, was it today or was it yesterday? It might have been last night.
Yeah.
And my dog was charming him.
Yeah.
She was over there standing in front of his door, asking him to give her a snack.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, can I just... Do you like the location of your stovetop? Because he has a separate oven up and then stovetop, and then he has like big drawers underneath his stovetop. And I was like, do you like the layout of your kitchen and where are you at? And then he was like, yeah, the only thing I don't like here is this stupid cupboard where my boiler is in on top of my my washing machine, because it takes up my counter space and it's in my, and it's just, and I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we had when we started talking about it, where I'm like, it's not practical and I don't want it.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So that was what he said. And then I was fanning about in his kitchen and it's just like trying to get a feel for it. And I don't know, his kitchen feels smaller than mine.
Okay.
Which is weird because mine doesn't feel big.
No.
But, so we were having a conversation and I was like, oh yeah, we're going to redo my kitchen this year because I'm at a point now where I've had enough and it needs sorted. And then he was like, oh, so do you know who you're going to go with? And I'm like... We're going to do it ourselves. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to do it ourselves. We did my bathroom.
Yep.
And we're going to do the kitchen. And he's like, oh, can I maybe help with some of the bits? Because I actually really want to learn how to do some of this. And I'm like, it's a couple of extra hands. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I've also told him that when he's going to build a fence around his garden, that we will help because we did mine.
Yeah.
And he was like, actually, that'll be really great. Thank you. So, yeah, we're going to share the knowledge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all about. That's what it should all be about. That's neighbours, community, you know.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, back to cleaning.
Yeah, so like the cleaning and that, I think it's an easy kind of way to just go in, oh, well, on the days or the weeks where I cook, you set the table and clear away.
Yeah.
But again, the practicalities of that might not be there.
Yeah.
But I am thinking that what I think would work well for me is that 1 week we're responsible for our own rooms.
Yes.
But 1 week you do bathroom and corridor, and I'll do the living room and the kitchen.
Yeah.
And the following week we switch.
Yeah.
I think that would work well for me.
Yeah.
I think that would work well for me.
Yeah, and as I say, I'm good with whatever, you know. And I'm also like, we're not scorekeepers.
No.
On terms of like who's
And
done
just-
what, so many.
No, and just because I like to do things on a certain way, on a certain day, at a certain time frame, that doesn't mean that you'll necessarily have to do that. No. Just because I like to get up early on a Sunday morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
First things, go up, do all my big shopping.
Yeah.
Pack stuff away, and then do my cleaning.
Yeah.
You know, after I have had my iced coffee and my pastry, and do my cleaning then, that doesn't mean that you have to do your cleaning on a Sunday morning.
No, yes, I hear you. Yeah.
If a Friday evening works better for you, whatever. It's your designated week.
Yeah.
And as long as it's ready and cleaned sometime during that week, then,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. No, that sounds good. We need a starting point anyway. So,
we do,
and we need a starting point that we're both going to go, we're happy with this starting point.
Yeah.
You know, and
then we might have the cleaning calibration episode where we're like, listen.
Yeah, you know, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think in a lot of things that we're possibly going to talk about here, it will be a case of I'm coming into your space, you know, and so you know the routines, you know, for cleaning in terms of...
I have my routines.
Yeah. You know, so I will fit into that to begin with.
Okay.
And then, you know, this is how I see it. I will fit into that to begin with. So you know, so if cleaning is a Sunday and I've not got anything else on or whatever it be in that I can fit that in, then I will do that to begin with. And then, as you say, we'll have our calibration episode where we talk about, right, yeah, this isn't necessarily working for me, or this is great. Absolutely. Maybe it's okay, this is great. We keep on doing it.
Yeah.
You know, so I just view this conversation as about where are we starting from?
Absolutely.
What's the expectation on both sides of it? You know, so in terms of the your proposed areas, and you know.
Yeah, because I think like doing the full house every other week, like I don't think like that doesn't make sense.
No, but it's just for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think the thing that's going to be a little tricky, at least for the next month, until we can start utilising the garden and the drying space there, is going to be laundry.
Yeah.
I'm not organised in terms of when I do laundry. Like I don't have a certain day and that's when I do it. Like that's not how I work. But in terms of drying space, I think that's going to be one of the difficult ones.
Okay, yeah.
Just because you don't have space in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Like there's no space for you to have, and it won't, and the thing is, it won't dry. So even if you hang it up in the morning, it's not going to be dry enough that you know, can pack it away in the evening. And because the space has a Murphy bed, there's no space for it to stay up overnight.
Yeah.
And I don't quite know what the solution to that would be. I would be okay with you having it in here.
Yeah.
In the living room.
Yeah. And
again, it's going to be a short-term thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the ones that.
And it's just something that I will be mindful of when I'm doing a laundry, in terms of like not necessarily going for doing a big.
Well, you won't have space to do a big until we can hang it out. You know. You know,
so in the short term, I think, I can make that work.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of just having a few things, doing laundry for a few things. So maybe doing like a load as opposed to some, you know, because the way I kind of do at the moment is like I'll do 2 or 3 loads in a day.
Yeah,
and get it
you'll get it all gathered together, and then you just have a very intense washing day.
Yeah. You know, so just not do that. You know, so it's. And you know, we're talking about a month until we can start getting things.
Hopefully,
out, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I hang stuff out all year round if it's dry.
I definitely hang stuff from March till October.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
From March till October.
I will put stuff out in December, January, if it's dry. If it's not, it takes a bit longer to dry. You sometimes just have to hang it for a couple of hours once you take it in, just if there's damp air off of it and stuff like that. So I bedding is the only one that's going to be the big one. Literally.
Yeah. So the way that I dry bedding currently is I hang it over the chairs here in the living room, and then because of the radiator, it actually so it dries quite quickly.
Yeah. So
and again, happy for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's not like, well, I don't know, but it's not like either of us have like work uniform.
Neither of us currently have work uniform.
That's what I'm saying. Neither of us currently have work uniform.
I can't imagine you'd go into a job where you'd have to put a uniform on.
I almost certainly wouldn't go into a job.
Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah. I don't see that.
Yeah.
I don't.
Unless
see
it was you had to wear a jacket with a logo on it. That's that's possibly about as
uniformy as you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think on the cleaning front, let's do that. Let's try that. Run with that for a bit and see how we get on with that.
Yeah.
And then see where we go.
Yeah.
Next on the list.
What's next on the list? Well, while we're on cleaning.
Yep.
Obviously, with the dog, she's a floofster.
Yeah.
She's a very fluffy beastie.
Yeah.
And she is already molding.
Yeah.
Like
her winter
coat is already starting to come off. So I hoover throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
There is no expectation for you to do that throughout the week, even when it's like, no. But if you could bring your hoover down and we could use yours, that would be greatly
100%,
appreciated.
100%, yeah.
So in terms of Raven, the name of my dog, I have no expectation of or need for you to step in and help with walks unless I specifically, like, when I have some of those where I'm like, I can't, can you take her for a loop thing?
And that's kind of how we work when I'm here now at the moment, and it is like, again, on that subject, it's just kind of, there was a period of time there where when I would get up early in the morning and come with you when you were doing your morning walk, or go with you when you were doing your afternoon walk. But I'm also conscious that sometimes you need that space just with your headphones on and out walking your dog, or if you go for a run and you take your dog for a run, so I won't push myself into joining you. I may say, like, I fancy a walk today, you up for that, and if you say
absolutely,
then that's fine. I think my relationship with your dog is one of uncle, I think.
I don't even know.
I don't.
I think
know if it is.
Cuddle subject is probably more accurate.
Yeah.
I think she collects subjects.
Because we know that she's more likely to jump up on the sofa beside me than she is you. She's more likely to come and
I'm totally okay with that. Obviously, that is not a bone of contention. Does not make me feel at all disregarded or anything. Yeah. Obviously, totally fine with that.
Yeah.
Stupid creature.
It's like, I love your dog to bits, so it's like, it's not a problem. And taking it out for the poop loop or whatever it be.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely loves you too. When I told her that you were coming today, I made the mistake of saying it 20 minutes too early. And I just said your name and she started like barking and running to the door. And I'm like, oh, shit. No, not yet.
Yeah.
And when we were out walking, you had done a grocery shopping.
Yeah.
And when we were out walking, and she just kept wanting to go, like, build on. And in the end, I had to, like, bribe her. And I was like, well, we have to go back to Don.
Yeah.
Don is home. And then she was like, oh, yeah, no, that's right. And then she went immediately home. So, yeah.
But for as long as I've known you, or we've known each other,
Yeah.
And whatnot, when it comes to your dog, and, you know, I've got no issue at all if you ask me to go and take her for a loop or a walk or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's just, there's been a couple of times where people are like, oh, I'll take her for a walk in the morning.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I mean, thank you, but no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a part of my morning routine.
Yeah.
Like, and I am such a creature of habit on so many things.
And you're also, as you said already, you're really, you know, you will ask if you're not feeling great or whatever it be, you will ask.
Yeah.
So I think we just keep doing what we're doing. You know, in that regard.
Yeah.
I've never felt obliged, or whatever, to be walking your dog on your behalf,
and I don't
or whatever,
want you
and
to.
You've never made me feel like that.
No, and I don't want to do that either.
Yeah. You know, and again, it's just like it wasn't something that I had thought about being any different.
Yeah.
You know, when I move in to what it is, you know, when I'm here for a weekend, or Christmas or whatever it be. So yeah.
It was important for me to just make that clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So status quo.
Yes. Yeah.
What else?
Well, I think the next bit is like grocery shopping, and we touched a little bit on that earlier, right? That we will have that shared.
Yeah. Well, there was already a bit of a chat about this between us, you know, in terms of what were we going to do in terms of meal planning and stuff like that, and we agreed. We agreed that it would be.
Well, actually, let's get into that. Let's get into meal planning.
Yeah.
A bit. Do you think that's something that will work?
Loosely. In terms of,
speak to
like,
me.
You know, I think if we can sit down and go, what are we thinking about for whatever length of time we decide to do shopping for, because we're also both the type that kind of go, oh, my body feels like it needs this or that.
Exactly. We're very good at eating for our bodies, right? Listening to, okay, well, I'm clearly needing this, so therefore.
You know, so, and that's where I say loosely, we have to continue to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
And then in those scenarios whereby, if you were going, oh, my body kind of really needs this or whatever it is, and my body's not saying anything, so it's just kind of, it's happy where it's at and whatnot, then I will go with whatever you're having, you know. But I do think to us, our refrigerators are probably fairly similar in terms of the main big item content.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what we need to do. So when we say meal planning, it's not necessarily going, we're going to have.
That's what I mean by meal planning.
Yeah. No, and I know that's what most people mean by meal planning.
And that's what my question was.
Yeah. So
right?
and I think
like,
it's just a case of like, what do we fancy getting in terms of ingredients, as opposed to this is the specific meal we're going to have on Wednesday, you know.
I don't know.
It's.
Yeah, I don't.
And the thing is, I'm quite easy-ozy when it comes to what I will eat. I just enjoy tasty food.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. I'm uncomfortable with that, which is why I'm moving about and like that. Oh,
You know,
but that's also where we differ, right? Because I'm very organized. I'm very pre-planned. I'm very like, this is, I am, right, okay.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just, that's kind of always been me. And it's just kind of like, you know, I genuinely...
But that's also what I mean in like, and why I want to have this conversation, because we are very different when it comes to that. We're very good at both at, as you said, listening to our bodies and then eating what it is that our bodies are telling us we need. But
I also like meal planning for a full week. I'm not sure that's practical.
Well, the thing is also that obviously with me being in the office one or twice a week, and then working from home, the way that I'm doing it right now is I will have leftovers that I will then have for my lunch.
Yeah.
But if we're cooking for two, there might not be leftovers.
Yeah.
And also you should not be paying for my lunch, right? Because my lunch is going out of, if we're doing that, my lunch is going out of a separate budget.
Yeah.
Or should, right? Because otherwise it's, you know, so there's that whole thing about lunches.
But if it's leftovers, then it's, we've cooked for two and there's been leftover. If you're deliberately cooking extra, that's not leftovers.
But you're being pedantic now, because we both know how I cook.
Yeah.
And that's not always intentionally. Like, it's not always intentional.
I have zero portion sense
control
at all, you know.
Yeah.
I cooked something the other night. I intended to cook for one meal and it did three.
Yeah.
You know. So, but I think meal planning is maybe taking it a bit too far.
Well, what the thing is, where we're like, okay, well, do we agree on, like, do we have a thing where you're like, well, you're in charge this week. You're in charge this week. We agree on 3 meals. Yeah. And we can do food shopping for that, and we know that we have that in, and that's our tea, that's our dinner. For 3 days, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, this is what we have Monday, this is what we have Tuesday, this is what we have Wednesday. Like, that's not necessarily what it is. And then that leaves flexibility for the other days of the week. Yeah. And then it's a case of, well, where are you at? What are we doing?
I also think there's opportunity here for us to do kind of like try new things. You know, where we have, like, on one evening we'll try something different or whatever.
I mean, it could also be, right? It could also be that we're keeping it really fluid, because we both have separate cards for the same account. Yep. And we're very much on the same page in terms of what is to be covered by that account and what is to be covered by ourselves. Yeah. So it could also be that one person is the main instigator of meals that week. Yeah. And it'll be a case of, hey, I really fancy this today. Yep. Where are you at with that? And then whomever has the opportunity to swing by and make sure that those ingredients are bought. And then we can say, you know, once a week we have a clear the cupboard, or like a specific day a week where we're just like, any leftovers, any like, you know, a fridge tapas.
It's just that.
It's like, oh, we've got a bit of potato from this, and we have some stuff from that, and we've got
what is in the drawer where vegetables go to die. You know, I'm again. There does need to be some structure.
Yeah, because otherwise we're going to fall into what has been happening over the past couple of years. And that's me going, I have these things and there's this option and that option. What do you feel like? And you'll be like, whichever one you feel like, and then I'm going to lose my fucking shit because that's going to be the standard.
Absolutely.
So I want to make sure that we're both pulling our weight.
Yeah.
And not that you're not pulling your weight.
No,
but so that it's not all on one person to be creative, not all on one person to be the instigator or the planner or the coordinator.
No, I absolutely think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
You know, or we both have 2 nights a week whereby.
But that's the thing, right?
We
I will be in the office on Wednesdays, so food shopping would be easy for me to do on the way home from that.
Yeah.
I'm driving past so many, so many grocery stores on my way home. So, you know, picking stuff up is super easy for me. But brain capacity wise, Wednesdays would not be a good day for me to make dinner.
No.
You know.
Yeah. And I think that if, you know, if we just have...
But that's what we could do. We could do that where it's like you're due Monday and Wednesdays, and if you get a job where you're away on a Monday and Wednesday, or if you're away every day, we can look at it again.
Yeah.
But like, so that you're the main person on Mondays and Wednesdays. I'll do Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
And then we get Friday and weekends are open season. What the heck?
Freestyling. Yeah.
Freestyle Friday and, you know, fridge clearing weekend.
Yeah, and that's it. And I think, I mean, you are right, and that's, you know, touched on that point there, where actually I am genuinely not overly fussy about what my meals are, so long as I have healthy, tasty food.
Yeah.
You know, but I also know that it's a cop out for me when you go, do you want this or this? And I go, I don't mind, even though I genuinely don't. That's not me just being lazy and not making a decision. I genuinely don't mind, but I know that for you, you just like.
Yeah, or it's like, well, just choose one. If you don't mind, then it doesn't matter. Just pick one.
I think I'm getting a little bit better. I think I'm getting a little bit better on that.
But I've also had to train you really, really hard.
But yeah, and that's just I'm good with that. I think if we just do 2 nights a week whereby we take the lead on the decision what is going to be for the evening meal and prepping it, and then we just go from there. Yeah. And see what works. Yeah. You know, what pans out. You know.
This is gonna change my Sunday mornings. I mean, it's not really, because I still need to coordinate what. Oh, excuse me.
But we can still do
what I'm gonna have for because my breakfast and my lunch are still mine to coordinate. Yeah. So
we can still do a bulk shop on a Sunday if we're planned for, like, if I know what I'm going to do Monday, Wednesday, you know, you're going to do Tuesday, Thursday, we can still create a shopping list of what's needed. You know, we don't necessarily have to go, we need to split the shopping up or going and doing shopping up. We can still do it as one shop. Yeah. Excuse me.
So where are you at? So that's the whole cooking and shopping kind of sort of taken care of. The other half to that is obviously the dishes.
Yeah.
And the setting the table and the clearing of the table.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Again, I don't mind doing the dishes. I don't mind doing dishes. I quite enjoy doing dishes. And I go through at home. I will go through phases whereby I will do all the dishes before I go to my bed. So when I wake up in the morning, I've got a clear morning, and then I'll go through phases where I'm like, when my coffee's brewing and stuff like that, I can get the dishes done, so I'll not bother doing them the night before. But I do generally have, that's the kind of two times of day when I will, and ultimately, for me, I don't suppose it matters, whether it's evening or morning.
Yeah. So.
But I also, like, I'd quite happily, like, do the bulk of the dishes, you know, and not feel like it was a chore.
Yeah. So cards on the table.
Yeah.
I do like doing the dishes, but I do not have capacity to do dishes in the evening.
Yeah.
Like the way that my circadian rhythm is, and the way that my brain is, and the way that my body is.
Yeah.
I don't do dishes in the evening. I do them in the morning. I don't necessarily do them every day in the morning. And again, that depends on where I'm at in like my mental health and my overall life capacity and all of those things. But when I do my dishes, it's in the morning. Like I don't do dishes in the evening because I don't have capacity for that. I don't want you to feel like you have to do them in the evening if they're there.
I never do.
Yeah. Not about, again, I just want to make that, you know,
and I do know
clear.
And I do know as well that, you know, it's because I was thinking about this and going, it's like I will quite often say to you, like, don't worry about the dishes in the morning. I'll get them when I get up, you know, and I'll get up and the dishes are done. And I'm like,
but that's because
I would do them.
But that's because I do the dishes in the morning.
Yeah.
And because I'm up before you.
Yeah.
So I will get up, I'll walk the dog, I'll come back, and then I'm going. Like, that's me. Like, I am, unless I'm having one of those mornings where I climb back into bed and I climb out of bed at 7:59 and turn on my computer at 8. You know?
So I think where we're kind of at is like neither of us is too bothered about doing the dishes as and when we are in the mood for doing dishes. I'm also like not one of these people that dishes have to be done every day. You know, if I've
I mean, as long as they're not like food lifting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I have days where I've used a few things and I'm kind of like, I'm not gonna do a sink of water and all that to wash a few things. So they can sit and wait until there's more stuff needing done.
Yeah.
You know, but I also don't want you feeling like if of an evening I'm just like, I'm just going to get these dishes done because I'm in the mood for doing the dishes. That's not because I feel obliged to or anything other than I'm just going to get the dishes done. Yeah. You know, and that's it. Yeah. And I'm pretty easy Ozy on the whole dishes setting the table thing. We generally, again, it's something that we've done so often.
I disagree on the setting the table thing.
No, I do. I often I have to be prompted for that one.
And sometimes several times. Well, no, actually, not when it's just you and I.
Yeah.
When we have our friends over, that's a fucking nightmare for me. That's a real nightmare for me.
Yeah, but I get
but that's also because you're being monopolized and it can be hard for you to extricate yourself. Yeah.
But it's also eating at the dinner table is more of a is that
a weird thing for you?
Eating at the table.
So let's set the scene a little bit, right? Because when I moved in to this space, we went and looked at various furniture things. And I made the decision to get a 6-person huge dinner table with a tempered glass tabletop.
Yeah.
And it weighs
a
ton. It does. And you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why do you need that? And I'm like, well, because I like to entertain and I need a dinner table.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, but what? And the location of where my dinner table is the location where most people would have their big sofa suite and their stuff and then their TV on the opposite wall.
Yeah. It's not at all what I would have prioritised.
No.
Absolutely not at all what I would have prioritised. I do still think it's bigger than what you need.
Oh no, it definitely is. I've never sat 6 people around this table.
But if you're going to have a dinner table in this space, you have to have 2 things. You have one that extends, as and when needed, or you need to have what you've got. You need to have a glass table that doesn't look like it takes up the whole room. You know, so that's your 2 options.
Yeah. But is the whole eating at the dinner table, like is that a weird thing for you?
Well, I think so, because growing up, we did eat at the dinner table, but not always. And,
okay.
You know, and there was also the size of my family was such that there was never space at the table for there wouldn't have been space at a dinner table for everybody.
Yeah.
To sit at once. So the older ones were generally sat away from the table. And the younger kids sat at the table. So, it's not a regular thing for me. I have a dining table in
you do.
in my house at the moment.
Do you use it when I'm not there outside of working on it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
You know, but you can also see that in the way that I eat. I don't use it unless I've got something that really needs like chopped up. I don't eat with a knife normally. You know, I will chop with a fork, and that's because I'm used to holding my plate and.
Oh, I've never noticed that.
Sitting on the sofa having my food.
I have never.
But I do enjoy. That. I enjoy when I have company or whatever. I enjoy sitting at a dining table.
Well, see, that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but it's a very Danish thing. Having dinner together as a family. For sure. You know, everyone does that. Yeah. And the majority of people have dinner, depending on the age of their children, somewhere between 5:30 and 6:30. Yep. So, like, you know, my dad would do this really passive, aggressive douchebag thing. If the phone would ring between 5:30 and 6:30, instead of answering the phone, hello, he would do in the middle of dinner, hello.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like but again, passive aggressively.
I get that, because that would have been the same when I was growing up as well. That was the time that people were eating. And I remember my parents going, I'll give so and so a phone, but I'll wait until after dinner time.
Yeah.
It was just it was a courtesy. It was just good manners.
Yeah.
Not to phone at that time. So, So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and but yeah, again, it's just kind of like it is what it is. You know, it's.
But I think this is a really good place to start.
Yeah.
For these things, right? So, meal plan. Actually, not necessarily a meal plan, but designated days where we take charge.
We're and you know what? It could, and the thing is if you on a Wednesday you're going like, my body really feels like it needs something and whatnot, and that's my night for cooking. But we've got the stuff in there to cook up for what you're saying your body needs. Then we do that. Yeah. It's you know, it's just I don't want to create any tensions or difficulties by being too rigid and stuff.
Yeah.
Where they don't currently exist.
Has to be. Yeah. So yeah, meal plan, cooking, shopping, cleaning, dishes, laundry, and gravy.
Yeah.
I think that was the essence of what we needed to talk about in terms of like a roommate agreement. Yeah. Not to the Sheldon Cooper level of.
Okay, I'll cancel my email asking him to draw up an agreement. I don't. I think, and again, it's just that.
I think it's having the conversations as they come up, right? And again, like this is brand new for both of us, so just.
And we both have complementary tastes and whatnot in food and things. You know,
I think the challenging thing for me is, as I said before, like my habits.
Yeah. And I will respect as I try to do when I'm here at the moment. You know, try to respect your routines.
But there's also things where you're like, well, I'm doing this routine because that's what works for me when I'm on my own. Yeah. But that might not feel right when I'm not on my own.
Yeah.
So, and it's just, again, as we were talked about in the previous episode, it's more about being very conscious and trying to anticipate some of the hurdles that might be coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And like
the obvious things where you know there could be potential frictions.
Exactly.
If you don't talk about them.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't talk about them.
So
yeah. No, I feel
I like that, making sure that we have these just means that we have to have a microphone in front of us, and then
we have to have the conversation.
Yeah. As
we've touched on, the podcast is our accountability buddy.
It is.
In this, so, and I'm feeling my voice starting to go.
Oh, I'm very tired.
Yeah.
Like I'm emotionally exhausted, but this has also been a week. It has been a week.
That was the week that was.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shall we draw part 2 to an end?
I think we should do the return of the roommate agreement. Yeah. Let's close that off. So thank you so much for tuning in to Shared Frequencies and the Space Between.
We hope our conversation today has helped you find a little more clarity in your own space between, whatever that might look like.
And remember, it is okay to be a work in progress. We're all just figuring it out, one frequency at a time.
If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who might need to hear it.
And until next time, keep tuning in and finding the space that works for you. Bye. Goodbye.